already read some books of I read some books of Brian Weiss and so on, and I was very thrilled about past life regression and so on. The serial that is to come on, किस्सा पिछले जन्म का कुछ तो ऐसा था, that came later, much later. This was before than that. So what happened was, I was going through some personal, if you may call it, personal trauma in my personal life, and my relationships were, you can say, were in jeopardy. So I thought I'll go through a past life. I thought I'll go through past life regression and see what happens. So I went. It was, of course, a guided. It was a mass past life regression session where there were a lot of other people also who were going through past life regression, and I could see in one of my past life I was in a European country, and it was in a hilly terrain, and I could see that majority part of my life, I was filthy rich, and I could see that majority part of my life I was only into you know drinking and drugs and women and all that. So that was my life that I saw. At home, I had my wife and a daughter, who was approximately 3 years old, maybe. And I totally ignored them throughout. And it was like I always used to be here. I was drinking and drinking and drinking. And my wife used to look forward when I'll return home. And practically, I never returned home. And then out of this drug addiction, my liver got totally infected and kind of, you can say, destroyed. My kidneys failed and I died. My wife and my kid had to starve and had a really pathetic life after that. I saw another life in another occasion where um, first I saw, it was in front of a church. There was a huge lawn in front of a church, in front of a church, and I was a general in an army, and the king declared war against a close by state, and everybody thought that the war is going to last maybe a couple of months or so. I was newly married in this life. I was the general, and the king promised that the kingdom will take care of all our families and finances. So we were a bit, okay, that okay, at least our families will be taken care of. So I still, when I close my eyes, I can see that I was standing beside the king, and we were addressing the soldiers that we need to fight this battle, and we have to win and come back as soon as possible, and so on and so forth. As I told you, I was newly married, so I went. We all went for the war, and as you can expect, the war never ended. The war went on and on and on, and we went from one place to another and another and another, this way, long way. And after quite a few years, we returned back. Many of the soldiers were dead. Few of us returned. And when I returned, I see my wife in deathbed. And again, I see that little daughter, of course, in a different avatar, different form. They were kind of in deathbed. I tried a lot to save them, but I couldn't. Actually, they died within a very few days of my reaching back home. Uh, I could see that this daughter, this girl came to my life, life after life. This little girl came to my life. Now, then, I could see my life, my current life, and see that some of the problems that I face in this current life is actually associated with my past lives. And I could take decisions for this life better than what I was actually planning to take at that point in time. Another incident, whenever I used to go to sleep, many a times, not always, many a times, I could see mutilated bodies, um, in very deformed shapes and forms during my dreams. They were all nightmares, and I used to wake up from those dreams. So during another past life regression, I saw that there was I was a very poor farmer, and there was a zamindar who wanted my land. I had a small piece of land who wanted my land, and I was well built, dark complexion, very well built, close to 6.57 feet tall, dark and heavy. And I was a farmer, and I could see that these zamindars they have sent some of their those gundas. They came with swords and all kind of arms, and I was cleaning clothes in front of it. There was a tube well. In front of the tube well, there was a base where I was washing clothes. So I saw that they all came and they tied me, my hands and legs, they tied immediately. It was in a fraction of a second, very fast. And they cut my limbs one after the other. And I saw my wife running out from the hut outside the door with a glass of water because I asked for water, maybe. And in front of her eyes, I was killed. My limbs were all cut. And at last, they cut my throat also. And my body was lying there, and my limbs and throat and head was out. Uh, I could understand that my wife immediately fainted. I had a little kid again who was playing in the garden somewhere close by, and he could not really understand what was going on. It's too small to understand what was going on. After this past life regression that I saw, I never saw those kind of dreams, those deadly dreams again in my life. I learned past life regression, and in my batch, this was way back in Singapore. There was a week-long program. First time when I learned past life regression, and I think there were 40 of us who learned together across countries, different countries. There were English, Chinese, Indians. We were 3 to 4 Indians, Egyptians. lot of different nationalities were there. But I think at the end, only 4 or 5 of us continued with our practice. Not many. I'll tell you my first story of my practice of past life regression. Uh, it was a friend of mine. His name is KT Upadhyay, and we were traveling somewhere. And it was very new. I learned past life regression very new. This was way back, I think 2008, 8 or 7, say 8, I think 8 or 7. And I was telling him, and he said, "Oh, do you want to do it on me?" I said, "Yes, why not? I've done so many." I couldn't tell him that I've never done. You're the first, so that he wouldn't have agreed. So yeah, no problem. I can do anytime, no problem. So then I said, okay, tomorrow morning we'll have it. They said, okay, no, but tomorrow morning I have to leave. Can you do it tonight? I said, okay, we'll do it tonight. And before that, I had some 4 to 5 hours with me. And I went through all the, scripts, what to say, after that, what to say, how to respond, how to ask questions, all that I studied, one after the other. And I kind of marked up the entire script, what to say after what. And then I was totally ready. Even I had the script with me beside me, so that if I get stuck, I'll go through it and then I'll do it. Sunita. And then when I started my past life regression with this friend of mine, you will not believe, I did not use a single sentence from that script. It just flew. And I was just talking, and it was just happening. And suddenly, I mean, I had a suspicion. I was just thinking, did this guy really go to past life? Because I couldn't believe myself. So I thought maybe just to make me happy, he's saying something, stories, just to make me happy. But after a while, I saw tears pouring out of his eyes, both sides, while he was talking. So then I understood you can't fake your tears. So then I understood, no, this is real. And then after that, it never stopped, went on and on. A lot of past life regressions, can't count, but couple of stories of past life regression. There are innumerable stories, but couple of stories maybe I would like to share with you. You might find it interesting. A friend of mine came to me with a request that her friend's daughter, who was deeply in love with the boy, had a peculiar problem. Now, this girl was from a very rich family, and the boy was from middle class. This girl has always been in Mercedes Benz, Maybach, and BMW, and all of that. This boy had an Enfield Bullet, and he used to love driving his Bullet. This girl, whenever he used to be the pillion driver, piche, put on her helmet, she used to hear sound coming out, like lot of beeping sound and zzz kind of a sound, and she couldn't sit behind even for 3 minutes. It's a peculiar problem, and they went to some doctors. Nobody could actually find what is the reason why it was happening. Nobody had any clue. So, and neither did they have any trust on me, because they thought, ठीक है, कोशिश कर लेते, कुछ हुआ तो ठीक है, नहीं हुआ तो भी क्या फर्क पड़ता है, kind of an attitude. So, I tried a past life regression with this girl, and very, very fast, maybe just in 15 to 20 minutes, she went to her past life. And when she went to her past life, she sees that she's a Japanese girl coming out of Tokyo Station wearing the kimono, red color with flowers kimono, having an office bag in her hand. She was coming out of Tokyo Station, and just outside Tokyo Station, there's a huge crossroad, roads going to different directions. She was trying to cross the road when a car comes and hits her, and she falls on the bonnet of the car, and her entire inside, intestine and all that comes out. And she was facing the sun and lying on the bonnet of the car, and from all fronts, all sides, cars are honking. And it took 3 minutes for her soul to leave this world. So I tried to release that memory of the subconscious mind from that particular incident and detach that memory with this life. Now both of them are happily married. She doesn't have this kind of a problem anymore. So stories are plenty. I mean, we can just share stories for hours and hours together. Let us start with this session. I have a few slides to share with you. So first and foremost, I there was a time when I used to do past life regression just for fun, just to show people that yes, past life exists and so on. But over a period of time, I have moved on, and now I don't generally I don't conduct past life regressions just for fun or to show past lives. It is a therapy. It is a therapy to heal people. So I use it now only for healing people. I don't use for fun any longer. So that is why we call it past life regression therapies. Yeah. So sorry. Before we start, it's very important to know who we are. Many of you have been practicing pranic healing and so on. And in pranic healing, it actually depicts very nicely that we are not the body, we are not the emotion, I am not the thought, I'm not the mind. So who am I? I'm the soul. So this understanding that I'm not a body, I'm not an emotion, I'm not a thought, I'm not my hands, I'm not my legs, I'm not my eyes, I'm not my speech, I'm a soul. It's very important because this is the starting point also of spirituality. Nilamji, you have raised your hand. Any question?
Sorry.
This slide I used in one of my previous sessions. Sorry, I used this in one of my previous sessions, but even at the cost of repetition, I would like to uh, just go through this slide once again with all of you. There are different forms of souls. Whenever we go for past life regression, we try to touch the soul. It's a healing that happens on the soul or for the soul, because all of us, when we take birth, our entire objective is to move from infant soul to a transcendental soul, the gradual, what we call in Indian scriptures, we call moksha. So our objective is always to move on to improve our soul standard, our soul standing. And how does it happen? Every time before we take birth, we have two choices. Either we take birth or we stay back in the heavens. We don't take birth. Now, it is like, as I think I already discussed once with you, it is like two things. I mean, you either have an open book exam or a closed book exam. Open book exam is of course a bit tough because everything is there in the book. So obviously nobody will ask direct questions if it is an open book exam. In an open book exam, there'll be application oriented questions. In a closed book exams, you can have direct questions. So when you are not taking birth, it is kind of an open book exam, because when you don't take birth, you are not limited to this life. Your soul can see, can feel, can understand across lifetimes. Your soul has total control or total visibility of all your past lives, all your future lives. So moving up the soul category becomes challenge, becomes difficult when you are up there. But there is a dual aspect to this. You may say, so then do we have same number of transcendental souls and infant souls? Answer is no. As you move up the hierarchy from infant to baby, baby to young, young to matured, and then old and transcendental souls, your job responsibilities up there are much more than over here in the physical world. Because you have to guide, you become a guide. As you see, in the intermediate level, the moment you reach matured level, you become guides. First, you become a junior guide to young souls, then you become a senior guide, and then you become master. Who are these masters? We know many of these masters, they appeared in this world. Jesus Christ, Lord Krishna, Prophet Muhammad, they are all masters. These are very few. The masters are very few. So there's a proper hierarchy up there also, just like you find in this world. So they don't take, their possibility of taking birth reduces because their job up there is much more than in the physical world. They guide souls as to what they have to achieve in life when they are in the life form. So what happens is, at each level, before we take birth, if we decide to take birth, we take resolutions that in this life, I am going to achieve this, and this. So if in this birth you plan to learn how to trust people, life will take you through situations where you trust people, they cheat you. You trust people, they cheat you. Question is, will you again trust the next person? For example, in this life, I don't my learning in this life is not about trust. I don't have any problems with trusting people. So I don't have people cheating me also much. Hardly there is anything. Hardly it's to be discussed. Or it could be, say, punctuality. Different forms of life lessons to be learned. Even empathy, love, unconditional love, lot of lessons could be there. So what kind of lessons you want to learn? You come, and then what happens? The magic that happens with all our lives is we forget our resolutions after the age of 3 to 5. We don't remember our resolutions. So this is the closed book exam. Question is, even though you don't remember your resolutions, you have a conscience that will guide you. If you listen to your conscience, if you are able to connect to the heavens, mostly you will be able to meet your resolutions. But there are people, you may be asking questions, do all of us meet our resolutions? Of course not. There are people who don't listen to the conscience. I mean, conscience is such that it's like heaven's guidance, heaven's message. So message comes to you once, you ignore, right? Kuch nahi, bakwas hai. You don't listen. Second time again it comes, you don't listen. Repeatedly, when you don't listen to your conscience, to your guidance, the connecting cord of guidance also cuts. And then people go totally haywire. So there's a possibility that a young soul or a matured soul can move down the ladder to become a baby soul because of some very wrong things done in this life. So it is vice versa. If you really do much more than the resolutions that you take, you move up very fast. That is also there. So mostly the all the things that happens in our life are kind of what we decided to achieve in this life at the soul state. In the cycle of karma, we all know cycle of karma also works excellently well. Many a times you will see that in a certain life, a very young kid sketches excellently, an outstanding sketch, or sings so nice, or writes so well. These are all some kind of a Sanchita karma. It passes on. If you are here in this platform today, if you are a healer, if you are spiritual, believe me, it is not one life. You have been practicing this across lifetimes, and that is why it comes so naturally, so easily to you. It doesn't happen over just like that. Just like I told you, I when I first attended my past life regression classes, there were over 40 participants. Only 5 of us practiced, not all practiced. Others, they just came out of curiosity. So it is all stored in our Akashic records. Today we talk about AI, artificial intelligence. If you are looking at a particular type of videos on Facebook, Facebook will prompt you to see those kind of things. Suppose you like watching prank videos. YouTube will prompt you prank videos. Same happens with our lives also. There's an AI there in the Akashic records. If you have a trend, you can actually take forward that trend and move on. And same is the reason why we go through so much of pain. So as I was explaining you about the different kinds of souls, we go through pain when we are advanced souls because the lessons to be learned are tougher and tougher. As you move forward, our lessons become tougher and tougher. Many times we'll see somebody is having such an easy life and we are envious. Oh my God, look at that guy. Such a, comfortable life he or she leads. And look at me, bichara. I have this, I have that, and all that. Well, there are two aspects to this. One is when you're going through a lot of pain in this life, if you are, there are two ways of analyzing it. First, to understand why me. It is you because you are a matured soul. A young soul will have problems with materialistic things. मेरा घर, मेरा घड़ी, मेरा गाड़ी, मेरा फोन, मेरा my I, me, myself. You grow slightly more matured. I'm talking about the soul. You go through a lot of emotional turmoil because you are moving out of the animal instinct and becoming more human. People close to you, they leave you. New people come to your life, with whom you can't adjust, and you go through emotional turmoil. Now, again, how do you take it? As we often say, life is all about yin and the yang. It's all about positive information, negative information. Our job is to stop the entry of negative information into our soul and fill it with positive information. The way you take pain can take you forward in your life journey, in your soul journey. Instead of asking, why me? You should always ask, Divine, please help me understand what is to be learned from this. What do you want me to learn? You have given me this, I accept it gracefully. But please tell me what I am supposed to learn. How do I move forward? What is my soul journey? That is very important. Now, I think a lot of discussions earlier also in this platform happened on different forms of the mind and so on. I don't know whether you've heard of this person called August Kekule. He's a German chemist. So this person was trying to decipher the symbol of benzene ring, and he understood that it has to be CH4 six times, but he was not able to draw a hexagon. Today it is very easy for us to draw a hexagon. In those days it was very difficult. He did not really understand how a hexagon would look like. So he was just lying down, and he just had a coffee in the evening, and he was just lying down in an easy chair, and he was just thinking, and suddenly he saw a snake coming in his trance state, and at the in the behind the hood, at the hood of the snake, he found a hexagon structure. And that is how the CH4 six rings came to being. So it is the power of the subconscious mind. So what do we do in past life regression? Before that, you need to know what are the different forms of the mind. We have, the least that we can do is divide the mind into six or five categories here, as you see. The conscious mind, currently that you are going through, the conscious mind, which is full of logic and understanding and questioning why. The pre-conscious mind. Pre-conscious mind is the mind where you generally don't remember things, but you can easily recall. For example, you can easily recall that, I remember in my childhood, I used to catch hold of my father's ring finger, point finger, and I used to walk in the park. It's easy for you to recollect that. So that is the pre-conscious mind, which is not in your conscious mind, but you can recall it anytime. Unconscious, very easy. For example, anesthesia before going for a operation or surgery, go through you are unconscious, which means the body's entire metabolic activity is on. But if somebody comes and slaps you, you won't be able to feel it, for example. Subconscious mind is all the information that is stored about all our previous lifetimes. That is the subconscious mind. And there is a superconscious mind. The superconscious mind is the most profound of all kinds of mind. It's wisdom about the entire soul kingdom, not mine, the entire kingdom. So when we go through past life regressions, we try to take the conscious mind to sleep and raise the awareness of the subconscious mind or the superconscious mind. Depends on what kind of past life regression we are going through. Now, these are some kinds of past life regressions that we all practice many times. The lowest form is, or the easiest form is the normal hypnotherapy that we have always been talking about, and many people practice. Doctors practice it so much, and so on. We have also seen in a lot of movies and so on. So, this any kind of hypnotherapy, it starts with touching the subconscious mind. Please remember, a doctor or a practitioner cannot touch the subconscious mind unless it takes the conscious mind to sleep. So there is a kind of a process through which it relaxes the body. Once the body is relaxed, it relaxes the mind. The moment your mind goes to sleep, it is the conscious mind that is going to sleep. The moment the conscious mind going to sleep, you can raise the awareness of your subconscious mind. And that is how it resolves issues related to this life. Past life regression is slightly advanced than that. It not only touches the subconscious mind, it goes to a certain extent to the superconscious mind. And that is how it can touch in the entire, dictionary or encyclopedia of past lives. Because I give you examples. If you are a great singer in one of your previous lives, chances of you becoming a good singer in this life can be higher. I gave you my example of my first past life regression therapy. So there is a carry forward always. Okay, so these are positives, but there could be wrong informations also, negative information also stored in our previous lives. So those negative informations also percolate in this lives. So unless you cut the cord of negative information of previous lives, you will not be able to deal with situations in this life. Well, there is another angle to it also. Suppose there is a person in this life with whom you have bitter relationship. Remember, chances of this relationship getting carried forward to your future life is high. And that is why we say, forgive, forget, move on. Now, if you have a bitter relationship with somebody in this life, and if you are really selfish, you should forgive that person. Forgive that person unconditionally and move on. Because if you don't forgive, you will not be able to cut the cord of that negativity. So you have to cut the cord, fill the negativity with positivity, and move on. The cord is cut. The same disturbance will not be replicated in your future lives. You don't need to go through a past life regression in your next life to get rid of this problem that you had in this life. So that is why forgiveness is so important. Forgiveness helps us to cut all the negative cords. Okay. Then there is, of course, the third, as you see, between life regression therapy, where we take the client, the patient, in between two lives. The moment you go between two lives, you are at the soul state. At the soul state, you get in touch, or we can connect the subconscious mind to the soul's speech guides, spirit guides, or soul groups, soul councils, and so on. These are all different layers of, just like I showed you this slide. So these are all the junior, senior, and the masters who are there. So these masters constitute the spirit guides, soul groups, soul councils. So a lot of wisdom can come out of that. For example, suppose you forget what is your resolution for this life and you want to touch that, you can connect to your spirit guide and take a quick analysis. How have I been leading this life? Whatever years are left in this life, how can I do things really, really positive to cancel all the misgivings, all the wrong things that I did? And at least whatever years are left in this life, in this birth, how can I best use that for humanity, for mankind, for others, for my own soul growth? Spirit guides can help, soul groups can help. There is another kind of regression, past life regression, which is called surrogate past life regression therapy. This is slightly different because this happens when we come across patients whom we cannot take to past life directly. So, for example, if somebody is a kind of totally mad person, okay, you can't, or a person who is mentally totally disturbed, and you can't take the person through any hypnotherapy. The person won't even sit for 2 minutes in one place. Or a schizophrenia patient. In these kind of cases, what we can do is we can conduct a past life regression, that is, touch the soul of that person through another person. So, for example, if somebody is suffering from schizophrenia and his mother is totally fine, so we can conduct past life regression of the mother, and through that, through the mother's soul, we can move to the soul of the son. So this is called surrogate past life regression. So it touches the superconscious minds of others through one medium. So the mother is the medium there. We are actually healing the son. Okay. And rare cases you might have, dark spirits or earthbound or not earthbound spirits. If at all there are negative spirits, need not be in the human form, could be in different other forms. So there are a lot of spirit release therapies also, which can be done to remove those kind of uh, problems from a particular soul. Many times, the soul before coming, before taking birth, it takes some obnoxious or some weird promises to be fulfilled in this life. Now, if I take birth, uh, that particular promise is actually disturbing my current life a lot. So I had a patient a long time back who who was suffering from skin diseases a lot. And skin diseases were like very different. It was more of, on the face, only the portion of the body which is exposed, the hands and the face and the legs. That's all. The body, entire body is fine. It's only till the neck here, and the hands and the legs. Legs also only in the foot, the feet. So I took her to a past life, and there I saw this particular lady in one of our previous lives. She was raped innumerable times. And that because of that painful memory in this life, she took a resolution. I can't change my features because that will be hereditary or something like that. But I don't want to be attractive at all. So that was stored in the subconscious mind that I should not look attractive. So the message was inbuilt, the information was inbuilt, the programming was done in the subconscious mind. And that is why she was having the skin diseases. So that you have patches here and here and here, everywhere, patches, and you don't look attractive. I studied her face very carefully. Actually, she was extremely good looking. But because of those patches, she couldn't marry. She couldn't even marry. She had a very difficult life. And she was desperately wanting to come out of that and want to have a good life, normal life like people. So what we had to do is we had to cut the cord. In this particular case, I conducted past life regression along with one of my very close friend. Both of us, those days, we used to conduct past life regression. His name is Abhishek. So we conducted past life regression on this lady, series of past life regressions to cut the cord. She is now married. She is now settled in, I think, somewhere in Portugal, Lisbon or somewhere. She's settled with her family. She's doing extremely well. So my story ends here. I'm open for questions. No questions?
I want to know that actually, is it good to get the past life regression or not? What is the suggestion? Because
So,
many times it comes in mind to get it, but as you said that there are many negative aspects of your previous life which can pertain or which can prevail, and you keep on thinking about it again and again, and it will spoil this life also.
yeah, good question. I actually, in some way, I answered your question earlier. Uh, it's not for fun. It's not for fun. If you have a particular problem and you want to, disconnect the cord and make your life better, you want to make your life better through past life regression, you should go for it. And yes, it is not easy because when you go through a past life regression, you might see some of your soul journeys which were painful, which could have been painful, and we have to cut the cord there. Okay, so it is not easy thing. Sometimes it could be very rosy. Sometimes it need not be rosy. Like I shared my past life experiences when I started the journey way back. So those were not easy things to see. But to cut the cord, I had to go through all that, and I cut the karma cord there in my previous lives to get the fruits of it in this birth. So answering your question, you should not go for past life regression just for fun unless you have specific issues that you want to resolve. There's no point going for past life regression.
My question is, what happens in between after death and then taking birth? And what is that period of time in which you take another birth?
Yeah, it's very interesting. First of all, there are different kinds of death. If it is a natural death, then your soulmates. When I say, it is not like uh, uh, with people or with souls whom you have spent several lifetimes. They actually all wait for you. But before that, what happens? I mean, you should read the book written by Raymond Moody, Lives After Lives. Very nice book. It's a very scientific book. And this person, he conducted several surgeries. He's a doctor. And in many cases, there were patients who actually their soul left the body and then it came back after a few minutes and so on. There's a lot of documentation in this context. Mostly people say that when they die, after they die, they pass through a kind of a dark tunnel very fast, and there's a bright light. Sometimes it is white light, sometimes it is yellow or pink or purple light, uh, and this they call as the light of being. Light of being implies that light with a life, with a being. So this light is extremely soothing. It comes to you, it embraces you, your soul, and it soothes you, calms you down, and tries to settle you and says that, look, everything's okay, fine, you had a turbulent life. It calms you down and it helps you to go through the life that you led very fast. Of course, as you move to that world, there's no time dimension. Everything can happen in a just a second or fraction of a second. So you quickly go through your life, the life that you led, and it helps you to analyze and interpret the wrong things that you have done and the right thing that you have done. It helps you to remorse or feel sad for the wrong deeds that you have done and feel happy for the good things that you have done. And then there's a process of events that happens after that. You meet your soulmates, you do lot of fun, lot of enjoyment, lot of learnings at the soul state. And after that, what happens? You decide. There's a time that you need to decide whether to take the next birth or not. And if yes, what will be the resolutions of the next birth? Okay. And your soul guides help you to decide on your resolutions. And when you decide on your resolutions, it depends on how much you want to learn in the next life. Depending on that, we carry something called soul energy with us, so that we can bear the pain or bear the turbulence or bear all that we plan to achieve in the next birth. And
So,
we take birth. If
so
you
the
decide
soul,
not to take birth, you can stay up there also for a long time. No
so
problem.
the soul has the right to take birth or not to take birth.
It has the right completely, complete right it has. There is no force whatsoever. And also, contrary to the usual thought, there is nothing called punishment.
Mhm. Could you please repeat the name of that book you said, Life After Life?
Yes, Raymond Moody.
Moody.
Moody, M-W-D-Y.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mm.
When you die, do you remember the past?
Yeah,
One more question. When you
please.
die, do you remember your past lives?
When you die, no, after you die.
After you die, you remember your past lives, all your past
Yeah,
lives.
yeah. Then you are at the soul state. The moment you are in the soul state, you can evaluate all your past lives at the same time,
Yes.
including your most recent one.
Is there pain?
Does the soul feel the pain of those past lives if you've done something wrong, and are there?
Yes, yes. It is so that is why many a times, the soul decides to inflict pain in the next birth. So, for example, in one birth, if I have killed 10 people, the soul feels, oh my God, what a wrong thing I have done. I want to rectify my mistakes. So in the next part, what happens? We go through pain where our dear ones pass away, and we feel the pain. My God, my X, Y, Z, who are so close to me, are all gone, and that is because you programmed your life that way. You wanted to feel the pain in this life, and of course, in this life, you don't understand why are you feeling the pain, but it was all programmed by you.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Hello.
Yes.
Yes, namaste, sir. Just wanted to ask, you said when soul is departing or decided to leave this planet, and then some their family, close souls, which you call it soulmates, they come to receive you and guide you. And but you did not mention anything. Is there anything like spirit animal we call that brings you into this life and also takes you back when the time is over, our life journey is over? There is a spirit animal. I'm reading a lot about it, and everybody has individual. Like many people have different. They
Yeah,
can
yeah.
be living animals, but as a spirit animal, the same shape and same
Yes.
body comes. Can you elaborate on that, please?
Yeah. So, actually, it depends on from person to person, from soul to soul. Sometimes, for example, when I saw my spirit guide, the first vision that I saw of my spirit guide was a huge albatross bird spreading its wings really far. And the depiction is, I am there to protect you. I did not really know what kind of a bird it is when I first saw it. But later, when I saw the image of the bird in my mind several times, I saw it is an albatross. It was a huge bird, white, completely white bird with the wings spread like this, and it was waving its wings and passing on message, trying to talk to me that I'm here, I'm your spirit guide. I'm trying to protect you all the time. So it can take any form. It can take the form of a bird. It can take the form of a squirrel, and they can talk and they can connect with you. Sometimes you can see a saintly figure also coming. It depends on from person to person.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
In this life, how do we get over the fear of death?
Fear of death or death.
Death, moth.
Wow. Okay. So first of all, this is something that I really love talking about. It's a ceremony when we die. There's nothing to feel sad or be fearful of death. It is the best thing that can happen to us. We belong to the spirit world and we are going back to the spirit world. We are going back home. What is there to fear? It's your home.
Okay.
That's where you belong to. Here you are in a rented. What is this? This is a rented property. Your white hair, your gray hair, your dress, this is all rented. Your own home is up there. What is there to fear to go back to home?
But what about the relationships you have here? You have to leave all those relationships. Isn't there a pain
Yes.
or
So that is the profound wisdom. All relationships will keep on meeting up there. Nobody will die. Lot of situations I have conducted past life regression of people who just came out of some trauma of, say, losing their best their dear ones, like son, daughter, and so on. And they just wanted to conduct past life regression to see whether their son is doing well, what message they have for them, and so on. And in most cases, the message that comes, Mama, I'm doing really well. I'm very happy. But I'm sad when you cry. Don't cry. I'm doing so well. I'm so happy here. I'm sorry I had to leave you, but I'm so happy here. And we will meet again. It is just few years. And if you consider you have taken 300, 500 births, what is in one birth? Your final home is there, not here. ये भी किराए का मकान है, किराए का शरीर है, सब कुछ किराए का है.
okay?
What is your own? Your own is only one thing, soul.
Okay.
Rest everything you will be changing. You don't even know whether in your next birth you will be a man or a woman.
Can you be an animal also in your next birth?
Rare, very rare, because once you come to the human form, in rare cases, you go back to animal form because your path of growth is already that way. Because, when you move up, your emotions, as I showed you that particular slide, you move up with your emotions. And then when you are matured soul, it's mostly about spiritual upliftment, about giving. And when you start giving, you start healing, you become a spiritual being. It is not possible with the brain of an animal to become spiritual. So mostly not.
Okay.
But if you're
Understood,
talking
sir.
about baby souls, they can sometimes move to animal and become human, and then again animal, and then the baby souls can move both sides. But if you're talking about a slightly matured soul, then it doesn't go back to animal kingdom.
So how do you know which soul you are? Whether you are a baby soul or a mature soul?
Well, that is very easy. I mean, in past life regressions, it is possible to see the. I showed you that slide where the last column was about color of the soul.
Correct.
So through past life regression, we can find out the color of your soul. From that, we can find out what kind of a soul you are. Most of my patients, most of my clients, when I pass through them, they say that I see a yellow ray.
Okay.
So which means they are, I mean, semi-matured souls, third tier,
What does an
tier three.
orange color mean? What does an orange color mean?
There is no orange color in souls. It's mostly actually a form of yellow. So
And
yellow
white,
is again
white. Is there a
the
white? Is there a white color?
yes. Mostly the when you move out of baby soul, you come to slightly young souls. Young souls are white souls. In fact, in the soul kingdom, majority of the lights that you see are white. Rarely you will come across purple and all that.
But when you do chakra dhyana and you go inside to see, you see these colors, especially white and orange and yellow is the prominent one.
Yeah. So as you see here, this slide, these are the soul colors. These are the soul colors, and the very, very advanced souls are dark blue and purple.
But here you have orange also, no? You are having orange, yellow with orange.
Yellow with orange, but it's mostly the yellow. It's a part of yellow, dark yellow we call it. But they are guides. They when you are dark yellow, you have already become a guide.
Okay. So you can be in a human form, and when you leave your body, you become a guide.
Yes. There are so many. I mean, you already know there are so many souls. Even in this birth, you are connected to so many people who are guides, who actually provide wisdom to you.
Correct? Yeah,
These
that's very
people
true.
are highly enlightened, and they have taken human form to move up their value chain.
So, like how
So
we
when they
have
are in the
gurus.
soul state, they are guides.
Correct.
So, so if there's an animal like my dog, okay, we loved him so much. So he dies. So where does the soul of a dog go?
So there's a process. I am not a person who have specialized in animal soul growth. I have not
Okay.
specialized in that at all. I have dwelled mostly with human beings. I don't have much knowledge in that. But if the dog had a very good soul and already much advanced, then chances that in very near births, few births, it will become a human soul.
Okay.
And many a times, there are several kinds of animal which are uh, which are spiritual in some way.
Yes.
So these animals may not go through the baby soul path of a human being, because they don't have that. They are animals, but they don't have the animal instinct. For example, you consider a dolphin. It's an animal without an animal instinct.
Okay.
Yes, I was going to say that, dolphin.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
I know. I am
yeah.
reading a lot. Yes, thank you.
Yes, yes, yes.
Uh, if
One
somebody
question.
has,
Yes.
excuse me,
Yes.
if somebody has too many fears, phobias, and it's troubling her or his life nowadays, will past life regression help in removing those phobias and fears?
Generally, yes. If you don't understand the root cause of those phobias, then the root cause, knowing the root cause, if it is connected to any of your past lives, then clearing that karma can heal these kind of things. Time is running out. Very quickly, I'll tell you, there was a girl, small girl, uh, daughter of my friend. He's a colonel, Colonel JP Singh, uh, in North India, and his daughter used to had a tremendous amount of fear of darkness. Tremendous. I mean, every time she required light everywhere. She was about to go to US for higher studies, and her parents, I mean, Colonel Saab was very worried that यहाँ पे तो इतना दिन हम लोग protect करके रखे, आगे क्या होगा? So then we went through a past life regression where she went through one of our past lives where she saw that it was very dark in the evening where she was playing with some of our friends, and when she was playing, there were some people, some dacoits who came in horses, and they poured some kind of kerosene oil across our house all through and burned the house. And our parents, servants, grandparents, everybody was burnt alive. And she was hiding behind the bush, and there was a boy, her friend, who pressed her, the face like this
Last.
so that she doesn't scream, because she was seeing all of that. So we tried to cut the cord of this incident that could impact this current life.
Okay.
So these kind of things happen.
I want to
Sir?
ask you, like, in
Okay.
case if suppose we do cutting the cord of meditation, uh, when we do cutting the cord, suppose right now you don't have any differences with anybody, but can we do for our past life, like if there is any incident which has happened, which it's subconscious mind, if it is pertaining, I'm cutting this cord. Like we do that meditation and pray to the universe by saying that now I'm cutting the cord of my last birth incident. Can that happen? Can we do that?
You don't need to. Don't need to use. You don't need to use a AK-47 to kill a mosquito. What you need to do is just every day you have to spend some time, go to the trance state, and unconditionally forgive all souls across all births, all lifetimes. If I have reached any harm to anybody, please
Yeah,
forgive me.
yeah. This
That is
I'm
enough.
doing every day. This I'm doing
That
every
is,
day. So
yes,
that's
yes.
enough. You don't have to think about the past life or
No, no,
the.
no. You may not know whom you have reached, what kind of harm. So just pray. All souls, all departed souls, to whom me or my ancestors in this life or previous life, if we have reached any hurt or harm, please forgive me. I forgive you unconditionally. Please forgive me unconditionally.
Yeah. Thank you. That's a very good thing. Okay. And another thing is, can you just send the recording for this session, because it's something very,
I
very
think
nice.
Alicia is there. She will help you with that.
It is too good. I mean, your session, and it's really helping because I'm reading a lot of book on this, many masters, many souls, and the soul journey and all. I'm reading all this, so I'm quite aware of everything what you're saying.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Yes.
If your life
What?
is normal, you don't need to go for past life regression.
I'm sorry, I did not understand what you asked.
Sorry, if your life is normal, you don't have any
Yes,
specific problem,
yes.
so you don't need to go for past life regression.
No, if we don't have any specific issue to be resolved, why do you want to? What's the use of opening the Pandora's box? Not required.
Okay.
Sir,
Thank you.
one
Do you have
question.
any insight into on celebrity lives, like people like Mahatma Gandhi, Hitler, and all those? What happens to them? You know, just curiosity.
I'm sorry. What is your question?
Well, I just wanted to know whether you know about what happens to some celebrities like Mahatma Gandhi or Hitler, or other any famous personalities that you have thought of.
Yeah. Okay. So, straightforward answer, I don't know. But many times leadership skills gets transformed from lifetime to lifetime.
Uh-huh.
If you are a benevolent leader, the traits continue to be there with you across lifetimes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, Will, suppose you have done a lot of crime, then would you just regress back into, let's say, you're a leader, but you're like Hitler has done something awful. So,
Well, your question is a biased question because you are already in a judgmental mode.
right.
Okay. So please understand, I made this statement earlier also. There is nothing called punishment in the spiritual world. There is nothing called punishment. There is nothing called hell.
Hmm.
We create our own hell. Our souls create our hell. There's nothing called hell. It is only, for example, if a tiger kills a deer, you will say, वो तो खाने के लिए मारा उसको. Same way, when a man kills another man, it is because it has that animal instinct. So the only reason why we become judgmental and why we say there is punishment is because we cannot put ourselves in the other person's shoes. So when we die, after we die, we can evaluate our life that we have just led, and we decide whether we want to impinge some kind of a punishment on us. The heavens never asks us to impinge any punishment on us. It is our souls who does it to move on in the journey. We want to feel the same pain that I've inflicted on others in the next birth so that I can cancel it out, I can neutralize it and move on so that I can become a better soul in the future births.
Right.
Is it good to communicate with the dead? I know a friend of mine who lost her daughter. She was very young, and this mother was devastated. So she was communicating with her. Is it possible this happens?
Yeah, see, generally speaking, when you are, there are different ways of doing it, but I would say communicating with the dead is not the good thing to do because the souls can be at very high level, sometimes. And if they are at very high levels, it is very difficult to come to our vibrational level to talk to us, to communicate. It's not easy for them to come. So I have done such cases where the departed soul communicated through another soul. Please communicate that I'm doing extremely well, but I can't come to talk because I am at a very different vibrational level. So it communicated through another soul which is at a lower vibration level to communicate to us. And this soul spoke on behalf of the very matured soul that he or she is doing extremely well and very happy, and please don't disturb.
I see. Because sometimes you can communicate, sometimes you cannot communicate.
Yes, sometimes you can't communicate if the soul is at a very high level. Of course, if your soul is also at a very high level, you can.
Oh, okay.
I want to ask you, I want to ask one more question is, like, when we know that there is a life after after death. So suppose the soul is taken a life somewhere and we want to communicate. So it must, how it must be, I mean, imagine the soul which is going to, somebody's calling that soul in another form. Maybe that soul is in the human form, but in another family or in another world where they, does this happen actually? I mean, does the communication
Soul,
go to that soul?
yeah, soul is like fire. So from a small fire, you can have different points of fire, and different points of fire can be converged to a single fire also. So whenever we talk about soul, for example, if I want to call my grandfather his soul, can I do that? The question is, Are, your grandfather has already taken birth in say Croatia. It is not that way. Even if the soul takes birth, a part of the soul is always in the spiritual world.
Oh, acha,
all
acha.
souls all souls have a part left in the spiritual world when they take the physical form. In fact, a soul can divide itself into spiritual world. Part of it is in the spiritual world, and part of it can be in the universe in different locations also.
So that means the when we die, that ansh of the soul which is here and which is left in the
Unites,
spiritual world, does it
unites with
combine
my
together?
original soul.
It will
Yes,
find its
yes,
origin and does it combine?
correct, correct,
So
correct. It
everybody
unites with
has
your
a part. Everybody has a part of the spiritual, their soul in the spiritual world, or only very
correct,
few.
correct. All.
Okay, so that's the reason when we do Shraddh, actually, they say that, when you do Shraddh, I mean, like healing the ancestors that during that month. I used to wonder when they've already taken birth somewhere, why are we doing it? For what? But they
No, no.
say, you must satisfy them. So that's why now you've given the answer to this. I mean, like it's a
Yes.
really helped me now, because this question was really pertaining in my mind for quite some time, that the person is already in some form 100%, because that person is not so evolved that it will go straight moksha. So I used to wonder, why are we doing Shraddh for what? So that's a very good thing you've told.
Yes. Correct.
सर थ्री लेवल तक की, जैसे फादर, ग्रैंडफादर, ग्रेट ग्रैंडफादर तक ही श्राद्ध का हम लोग मानते हैं, जब मैं पढ़ रही हूँ या हमारे एक टीचर ने बोला है। तो ये ऐसा नहीं कि सारे एंसेस्टर, हमें नहीं पता 50 मिलियन ईयर्स ओल्ड ह्यूमैनिटी है या 15,000 ईयर्स ओल्ड है, तो लाइक 3 का करना भी ठीक होता है। जैसे आगे पहले वाली जो थी अटेंडीज, उन्होंने पूछा।
I am not really sure about it, but of course, when you talk about your ancestors, you should actually pray for all your ancestors. 3 हो या 14 हो, फर्क नहीं पड़ता. You have to pray to convert all the negative information of negative karma of your previous ancestors to positive. So you have the power to heal their negative karma and to convert it to positive karma by your prayers. Your prayers are very powerful.
Because I tell you, this is also because, your lineage is from those 3 ancestors, the 3 level or 4 level. So if there is a blockage in anybody, it will come down to you. So that is the reason why we
Both
clear the
ways.
blockages.
It is both ways. It is both ways. Sometimes when your lineage is very strong and your ancestors have done really very good job in their previous lifetimes, in their previous births, you get the benefit of that also.
Yeah. So we have to give them at rest also. I mean, we have to pray for them.
Yes.
So
They protect you all the time. So you have to pray for them.
So Pap, Punya and Karma, excuse me. So Pap, Punya and Karma, how important are they now? You say Pap, Punya and Karma. So Pap
Yeah, so
karoge,
this the whole point of Papurna karma is again very human. Again, you are entering into a judgmental mode. So what is pap for you may be punya for me also. So it's very difficult to define what is pap and what is punya.
Okay.
It's your conscience. You listen to your conscience. That is better always. We have actually stamped a few things as pap, which actually may not be pap in spiritual world. For example, punctuality is punya, and I have crossed 9 o'clock, it is 9:23. So have I committed a crime? Perhaps not. So the definition is very, blur.
No, the
We
reason
give
is
the
that, Mr. Because you are clarifying a lot of doubts. So it's punya for you. It's not pap at all. Because
yes,
from you, we are getting the learning. Even if you cross that line, so you have to balance it. So it's like a taraju, where you are doing what and what you are not doing. So I feel it's a punya only. You
yes.
are
So
clearing
the
all that
best
down.
thing is to listen to your conscience.
Mm.
Listen to your conscience. Whatever your conscience says, the first input that comes from your conscience is always right.
Is there future progression
I
which
just
you are
want to
aware
know
of?
if, like,
Future progression.
somebody leaves a body and is not wanting to leave and is very, very close to a child, can that person communicate through the child or bless that child? Because my husband died and he was very close to my daughter, and I don't think he wanted to die. And my daughter was devastated. So, I mean, I
Yeah,
just wanted to know if
yeah, it happens.
you
So
think he's
these are
not
called,
around.
yeah, you are right. So these are called earthbound spirits. Okay, so many a times when your attachment with the physical world is very, very strong, you find it difficult to leave this earthbound levels and move up the value chain to the spirit world. It happens.
But I know somebody who communicates like that. I was telling you through automatic writing. But she
Yes,
said,
yes. They,
I can't reach your husband. I mean, I don't know. Maybe he's taken birth or maybe he's not available. So because we were trying to find out where he
When
is.
do
yes,
you
yes.
see? When do you
So
see?
they always try to, protect, they always try to help. But it's better that there's a larger plan of the universe, larger plan of the divine, because of which he had to leave this universe. So it's better that it is left the way divine plans work.
And
But yes,
going
coming to your
there,
answer to your question, it is true that some of these spirits, they find it very difficult to leave the earth plane, as we call it, because they are so attached. So actually, I would urge all of you, when you understand that you are close to death, you just pray to the divine that please release me from attractions. Please allow me to move out of any kind of physical attractions in this physical world. Allow me to unite with you.
Sorry, the last question, please. What do you think of the saying, पत्ता नहीं हिलता बिन तेरी रजा के, इंसान गुनहगार है क्यों? पत्ता
Also,
नहीं हिलता बिन तेरी रजा के, इंसान गुनहगार है क्यों?
I have not heard of this. But I think again, Gungar, the moment you are talking about that, you are again in a judgmental mode.
Okay.
one question I would to say, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have done my past life once. I
Yeah.
saw a grandmaster type on the snow peak of the any place, and one child there, white dress,
Yeah.
just like a great master or any Japanese type, or wearing long dress.
Yeah.
And one boy or some kid was standing beside them, but
Yeah.
I couldn't find what was the meaning of white snow and hill station, and it's a hilly area, snow.
I'm not sure, but it seems like it could be your guide. And if you had a proper guided meditation, then perhaps you could have
Yes,
been
yes,
able to ask
yes.
questions and gain some wisdom out of the guide, your guide, and try to resolve some of the issues associated with this life.
It's for my soul journey, or some about I was blessed with this master, or
You are blessed with this master.
yes.
I feel he was my father that time. I felt that at that
Okay.
moment. I can't always recognize that. So he said, "No, I am my master that was taking regression
Yes.
therapy.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
I
Yes.
was there. So he might be there, or my father was there. My father guided me a lot in my life. He is no
So
more. Last
most
time,
times what happens is this kind of guides, they take form. They take their form, the form that you are close to. Sometimes they take human form. Sometimes they do take the form of your close relative, father, mother, or somebody whom you can easily align with. So they take form doesn't mean that they are actually them. They take a form so that you understand that this person has only given me a lot of wisdom and guidance. So I'm sure I'm going to get the
yes.
same from this. So that is how it works.
Yes.
I'm sorry I have to stop here because I have another meeting coming up at 9:30. I would love
Thank you,
to
sir. Thank
continue
you.
with answering questions and answers, anything related to these issues, again in some future time. Thank you very much.